Plant breeding is as old as agriculture itself. But how do we go from simply picking wild plants to creating the incredible varieties we have today? Let's take a journey through the fascinating history of plant breeding. It all started around 10,000 years ago when humans transitioned from being hunter-gatherers to farmers. This was the birth of agriculture, and with it, the earliest form of plant breeding. People began selecting seeds from the best plants, those with the tastiest fruit, the biggest seeds, or the hardiest growth, and saving them to plant the next season. This simple act of selection was the first step in shaping plants to meet human needs. Back then, farmers relied on natural variation in plants. They didn't fully understand how it worked, but they knew that saving seeds from the best plants would lead to better crops over time. This practice is still used today, especially in small-scale farming communities around the world. As civilizations grew, so did their curiosity about plants. Did you know that as early as 700 BC, the Assyrians and Babylonians were artificially pollinating date palms? They didn't know about genetics, but they understood that transferring pollen from one plant to another could improve fruit production. Fast forward to the 17th and 18th centuries, and scientists began to uncover the secrets of plant reproduction. In 1694, a German botanist named Rudolf Camerarius discovered that pollen was essential for fertilization. Later in the 1700s, Joseph Kohlreuter conducted some of the first systematic plant hybridizations, crossing different species to create new varieties. And in 1717, an English gardener named Thomas Fairchild created the first known hybrid plant, a cross between two species of carnations. The real game-changer came in the 19th century, thanks to a monk named Gregor Mendel. Through his experiments with pea plants, Mendel discovered the basic principles of heredity, how traits are passed from parents to offspring. His work laid the foundation for modern genetics and plant breeding. Mendel's discoveries were so ahead of their time that they were largely ignored until the early 20th century, when scientists rediscovered his work. This marked the beginning of modern plant breeding, where breeders could now use genetic principles to create new and improved varieties. The 20th century saw incredible advancements in plant breeding. Scientists like Wilhelm Johansen developed the concept of pure line breeding, while others discovered hybrid vigor, the phenomenon where crossbred plants outperformed their parents. This led to the development of hybrid crops, like the famous Reed's yellow dent corn. In the 1920s, researchers began using radiation and chemicals to create mutations in plants, a technique called mutagenesis. While unpredictable, this method produced many useful varieties. And in 1944, the discovery of DNA as the genetic material opened up even more possibilities. Today, plant breeding has entered the era of biotechnology. Scientists can now transfer genes between organisms, creating genetically modified GM crops with traits like pest resistance or drought tolerance. Tools like molecular markers and CRISPR allow breeders to make precise changes to plant DNA, speeding up the breeding process and creating varieties that were once unimaginable. One of the most famous examples is Bt crops, which contain a gene from a bacterium that makes them resistant to pests. These advancements have revolutionized agriculture, but they've also sparked debates about the ethics and safety of genetic engineering. From the simple act of selecting seeds to the high-tech world of genetic engineering, plant breeding has come a long way. It's a story of human ingenuity, curiosity, and our deep connection to the plants that sustain us. As we face new challenges like climate change and a growing population, plant breeders will continue to play a vital role in shaping the future of food and agriculture. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share to learn more about the amazing world of science and nature.